Coalition Against Domestic Violence says about 20 people are physically abused by an intimate partner in the U.S. every minute.
I was living with him at the time, and our relationship had turned very toxic. He would throw stuff at me, he would degrade me, basically made me feel like I was worthless. And when I was pregnant, it kind of took the last straw, I guess.
I've probably been in 4 major abusive relationships, probably more if I really counted, but I grew up in an abusive family. So for a large part of my life, I didn't know there was anything other than that. I thought that was normal.
He would take all of his anger out on me, or he would, if he would get mad at his game, he would start hitting me or pushing me around, shoving me into things.
He threw me up against a part of a door, and my whole spine got bruised. And in that moment, I was like, I don't want this life for my daughter.
Neighbors in Rosedale are letting one of their own know that she is not alone. She survived what police call a domestic violence incident, took the life of her young son.
Everywhere at 5, we're tracking a troubling crime trend here in Ohio. More and more children dying as a result of domestic violence.
And if I heard the serious yelling, I would run and tell her to go hide and get lost, and then he would take it out on me. There was one incident where I was really young, and my mom was at work, and I can't remember what was happening. He was telling me to put my pajamas on, but I was naked, and he was hitting me. And I got home, and I was hiding in a pile of laundry, just shaking and crying, just a tiny little kid. And my mom came home with a coworker. And they saw it, and so it got reported, and my dad had to go to court. And I just remember being like a little kid on the stand having to testify against my dad, and I feel like to this day I have trauma related to anything having to do with court.
When my brother would hit me, yes, but it was mostly the faces he would make. He would be either smiling, or if he was really, really mad, he would have a really aggressive face, like he was gonna do something that would hurt me a lot more than he already did.
At 17, I did move out on my own, because at that point my dad had had an affair and my mom had left him. And I didn't want to be a burden on her, because at that point I had a little sister and 2 more little brothers. So it was my mom trying to support them, and I didn't want her to have to pay to support me as well. So I moved out on my own with the boyfriend. But that relationship soon turned abusive as well. And I think when you grow up in an abusive relationship, you don't know how to look for healthy relationships, and that is what's safe and comfortable to you, so that's what I looked for.
I was terrified. I felt like I was walking on eggshells every day I woke up, because I didn't know how the day was gonna go. I was always scared, is he gonna throw me out? Is he gonna hit me? Is he just gonna tell me that I'm basically nothing? And my mom was like, do you wanna file a police report? Do you wanna go through this? And I was like, no, I wanna get out. So my parents helped me pack up my stuff and helped me get out of that situation.
Yes, I would get really hurt from the abuse, but that was pain, oh, that hurts. But then when I would hurt myself, it was it doesn't hurt, it just feels like I just want to feel something, because it kind of took my emotions away, because I spent too much time crying or being mad over what my brother would do, and I would be the one to get in trouble for it. So I would...
No, it's fine. She's writing a research paper on domestic violence.
Yeah. So, I'm just gonna ask you a few questions,
Okay.
And if you can't answer it for just your safety or for anybody else, totally.
I'm pretty straightforward, pretty transparent, so I'll just say, oh, sorry.
How would you define domestic abuse?
Domestic abuse is not just the physical abuse that comes to mind that most people think about. There's a whole power and control. This is just my opinion. The emotional abuse that takes place within the domestic violence is huge. And maybe they only had to hit you once. And I don't want to say only because it's just a big deal, but maybe that's all it took was for them to be physical once, and now you know they're capable. So that there's a lot of leverage that goes with that. So they can do the verbal mental games and still leverage that, well, you know, he hit me, 6 months ago, he's fully capable of doing that again. Or she, because it doesn't discriminate. Also the financial is huge in the domestic violence, how they use that and or the children. Also immigration status and or papers. So whether you're legal immigrant or not, they will use your papers against a victim. I don't have that. How am I gonna possibly, how am I gonna do that without a driver's license? How am I gonna even start over, right? So they're smart in their own way. They kind of know that. The services that we provide, in general, an advocate can help you with emotional support. Even though we're not counselors, we would never represent ourselves as psychotherapists or anything of that nature. We can help you with resources, whether that's I have the information to tell you about the counseling people in town, or I can give you a gas card, or maybe you need diapers for your baby. I can also help you with a support group material. Like I said, we're not able to do counseling, but we can do a little bit of that emotional support within our smaller scope. We help with orders for protection and harassment restraining orders if it falls into our scope. And what does that scope mean? That means it has to be a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault for us to be able to help them. We help with the response to sexual assaults. So we have advocates that would go respond to the hospital. If you were there for an evidentiary exam, we would be there with you and let you be aware of what your options are, and they can help you report if that's what you desire. We can also do that for domestic violence victims if they wish to report. We would be able to get you to a safe place. You could come into one of our CAP offices or our CAP office here in Candy, which is attached to the shelter, and then you have some privacy there in our offices where you could report to law enforcement, or we could go with you out to law enforcement.